Hello there, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Pink Lady Presents. Mr. Rogers always says, it's a wonderful day in the neighborhood. Well, in my neighborhood today, it is a fantastic day because I am sitting, I believe, with one of Hollywood's legends. I mean, really and truly, a star. Phil A. Jones, actor, vocalist, man about town. Hello there.
Good morning, Pink. Good morning or good afternoon or whatever
Yes,
time it is
whatever,
you're doing
right.
this. Exactly.
I always tell
good
that.
day.
Or it can
yeah.
even be at midnight. I mean, wow, you know.
So good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you
for having
so much. It is my pleasure. I have to pronounce the name of the town where Bill was from. It is Murfreesboro.
Murfreesboro. Well, I spent some time in Murfreesboro, but I actually grew up a little bit west of Nashville, Tennessee. I tell people I'm from metropolitan Dog Creek, Shacklet, or Shacklet, Dog Creek, depending on which side of the road you're standing at the time.
Get it.
It was sort of a wide spot in the road and not very wide, honestly, at all.
Your first gig was a Nashville product, and it was called, watch this, Caspian Pearl Caviar. I want to know about Caspian Pearl Caviar.
That was
today.
my very first commercial.
Yeah.
My gosh, you've done your homework, Pink. Yeah. This was a spot, it was on cable way back when, for a budget caviar.
Bouger.
Exactly. It was a budget caviar. And they had me in a dressing gown and sort of this, a fancy Englishman
Right,
or whatever.
right.
And so they had me do take after take in which I had this mound of Caspian Pearl caviar on a little cracker.
You had to eat it.
And the camera would pull in tight to me and I would say, "Little fishies, come to me now." And I would cross my eyes as I went in. It's the most ridiculous spot you've ever seen. But after having copious amounts of Caspian Pearl caviar, I couldn't stand this stuff.
When did you actually get into singing? I mean,
Oh my gosh. I grew up in a musical family. And the music that we performed,
Yeah.
growing up outside of Nashville, as you might guess, it was country music. There was bluegrass music around us. There was country music around us.
Okay, before you continue, I want to know, and I want you to tell our audience something. I hear the word bluegrass, and then I hear the word country. What is the differentiation between the two?
Well,
Bill?
country music has changed tremendously over the last 20, 30 years to where it now, to me, sounds an awful lot like what used to be sort of folk rock or whatever. Bluegrass these days is sometimes referred to as Americana music, where you've got fiddles and you've got the string bass and you've got guitars, and they're singing things like Rocky Top and things like that. And so I grew up around those influences, and I was a kid drug around with my older sister and my aunt, who was sort of like an older sister, to all the local talent contests.
Oh, okay.
And so I would sing, as a 6-year-old, I would sing Folsom Prison Blues. Yes, as a 6-year-old, as a 6-year-old, I sang the lyrics, "I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die."
At 6 years old.
And, somehow my parents and grandparents thought that was a good idea.
Well, yeah.
And so I did that as a 6-year-old and continued doing things and then growing up and going into high school, discovering musicals. Somewhere in my early teens, I discovered the great standards. And it started out in a couple of ways. The Bing Crosby Christmas album.
Oh, really?
The Bing Crosby Christmas album. My mom and dad had the old Columbia Record Club, if you remember that. That's where
they got records all the time.
That's right. Every
Yes,
month you would receive a record. If you didn't like it, you sent it back.
Correct.
Well, they got, as my dad referred to him, the Christmas album from the old groaner, Bing Crosby, which included, the Andrews Sisters and what have you, great songs. And I fell in love with it as a kid. That was one of my first introductions to something besides country music, the Grand Ole Opry, and also rock and roll, which was sort of, permeating on the radio. My older brother would listen to rock and roll all that time. And from there were other albums that I discovered, people like Frank Sinatra and
Yeah.
Stephen Eady and Johnny Mathis and Tony Bennett and all of the rest of those. And that sort of headed me down a road of being interested in the kind of music that I sing today.
Well, you were in radio, what was it called? WAMB?
Yes, WAMB, which was a big 50,000 watt station out of Nashville
Oh.
that played big bands.
And what did you do
Yeah.
on that station?
I was the afternoon radio personality. I don't
Okay.
think.
You expanded your particular career into being an actor.
Yes.
And
yes.
how did that begin and where did that begin?
Well, that started really in high school when I started doing plays, and and I that got the itch going for the acting bug.
And when did you first come out to LA?
Well, I came out to Los Angeles in 1987.
Okay.
I've been here long enough to be considered a native, and I came out to give the acting thing a good shot. After I'd been, pounding the streets for a few months, I thought, maybe I need a part-time job. Got a part-time job at a radio network where I remained for like 20 years.
But we're going to show them something right now. We're going to show them the most handsome, debonair, way out news anchor that my audience has ever seen in their life. Let's watch Rod Remington on Glee.
Good morning, Los Angeles. It's 7 o'clock exactly on this beautiful Tuesday morning in the Southland. 59 degrees and not a trace of June gloom to take the spring out of your step. So kiss that pillow goodbye. The sun is shining, the rooster has crowed, and it's time to shake the dew off the lily. The wind is from the southwest at 7 miles an hour, so we're looking forward to beautiful blue skies today with a projected air quality index of 2. So breathe all you want, people. Just doesn't get any better than this.
Oh, my.
Man,
You see what I mean?
Rod Remington is truly, the way I describe Rod is he's a man who's a legend in his own mind. Local newscast celebrity, whatever.
No,
But what a ball.
All joking aside, how did you, look, everyone says when you really are good at what you do, how did you find Rod Remington?
Well, Rod Remington was sort of a composite of people I'd worked with,
Okay.
honestly, because
Okay.
I'd done TV work, had done radio work, and it's so funny because people who know, former anchors out here in Los Angeles said,
Right.
were you doing Jerry Dunphy? So people remember Jerry Dunphy,
Right,
from years ago.
right.
No, I wasn't. It was really sort of my own unique thing. People said, was that sort of your Ted Baxter, the old... Well, yeah, in a way. And it's so ironic because about 2 weeks before I got cast on the show, I remember telling someone, I said, I'd be very happy to be the next Ted Baxter because I need work. And,
Right,
and lo and behold,
Yeah,
there it was. And so, 6 seasons and IMDb
How
says...
long were you on?
Well, 6 seasons I was recurring on
Wow.
that show. It was,
Long time.
some seasons more busy than others. According to IMDb, it's 16 appearances. It was really 18. And I shot a 19th, but that one got cut because they were running long. That was the episode that Jane Lynch did the whole Vogue thing. Jane Lynch, I love Jane
know,
Lynch. I
I
run
know.
into Jane every once in a while, and what a sweetheart. And if it weren't really for the sort of interplay that the two of us had, the
Right.
first day that I was on set, I don't think that all of this stuff would have happened. To be honest with you, I did an ad lib, and it broke up everyone in the set. And then, I was doing, making eyes at Jane, back and forth because she's sitting on a slightly different set, and she, I'm
Right.
introducing her as our, guest commentator or whatever. And I guess, Ryan Murphy and the writers took notice and they said, and the role got bigger than what it was intention to be originally. So I'm
Well,
very grateful for it.
it's phenomenal, and I mean, it proves that you're not just a singer, shall we say, but as an actor.
Well,
And when did you go into like King of Queens and Criminal Minds and
Yeah,
all
well,
those?
that was actually King of Queens was prior to Glee, and then Criminal Minds. I can't remember if that was prior or after. I think it was prior. I've done a lot of little
You did,
guest
yeah. Everybody
things
Hates
over the
Chris.
years. Oh yeah,
I
that
mean,
was
a
fun.
lot of those.
Yeah, that was fun.
I want to show people a CSI.
Oh, okay.
So let's look at a little CSI for a moment.
Oh, and it looks like Mr. Kemp is making his way to the podium right now.
Thank you. Thank you. I know there's been a lot of speculation swirling about this guardian angel character. And frankly, a lot of people familiar with my philanthropic side have been asking if it's me. So I thought it was time I gave you an answer to that. Yes, I am the guardian angel. The fact is, I take a lot of heat in this town, thanks to the properties I own and the plans I have. But I love New York. So, if I can make this kind of a difference in the lives of 10 average people, hell, maybe I'm not such a bad guy after all.
All right, so that's the guardian angel.
So he says.
Yeah, that character was modeled on someone who would later run for president.
Really?
Yeah, and
Okay.
I think the clip there actually is a little bit shorter than what the actual
Right.
television show
Yeah.
was, sort of telescoped for our purposes here today. But
Well, you also
nice.
have done commercials, FedEx,
Oh, yeah.
American Airlines. You've really done it all.
the FedEx commercial is the thing out of all the years, including Glee, the thing that's got me more recognition on the street than any other thing. FedEx, where I'm a lousy golfer with my caddy in tow. Never make eye contact with a caddy; he's too rich for that. And keep making one horrible golf shot after another, and keep saying the line over and over again. Don't count that. Don't count that. Don't count that. Now, mulligan stew, if you will, if you're
Right.
a golfer. And I had people literally coming up to me in the grocery store going, "Don't count that."
Oh, that's cute. That's when you know that it's good.
That
You know
was
what
a
I'm
great
saying? That they
spot.
remember the line.
That was
not
that was
just
so
you
fun.
or I saw you
Exactly.
somewhere. I love it.
Exactly.
So in between that, though, you had the best time of all by doing your big band. How did you get into that big band?
It's funny. I moved to Los Angeles, and I had been singing in Nashville. I started singing with, I'd done some singing with a big band. First song I sang with a big band was the old Tommy Dorsey thing, "Marie, the dawn is breaking."
Yeah.
And came out here, and had been doing musicals, and it was a very different landscape, if you will, very different, and they expected people doing musicals to dance. That's always been a weakness of mine. I mean, they have people coming right off of national tours, for goodness sakes, and so I put that on hold, and I didn't know how to connect with a musician community at the time, and so I got busy. I worked in radio. I met my wife. We started having kids, and I put time into trying to develop the acting career because I figured, this whole singing thing, forget that. Well, it was always sort of been itching, my wife works in the travel industry. If you ever want to go to Africa, Pink,
Oh, okay.
that's what she does.
I love it.
She organizes
I love it.
people's tours to
Okay.
Africa. But she was at the time representing a cruise line in Alaska, and they had the Ubiquitous Talent Night. And I sang with these wonderful young musicians out of McGill University in Canada, and it went extremely well.
Wow.
And it sort of got the itch going. I came back to Los Angeles. I popped my head into a now torn down steakhouse called Leon's in North Hollywood.
Yes.
And as I was finishing my gristle and eggs, a big band struck up from what I thought was the entrance to the bathroom. And I went back there, and there's an entire hall behind this little coffee shop.
Right.
And it was one of the big bands that one of the rehearsal bands, and discovered that there's a whole
World out there.
of underemployed musicians who are in what are called rehearsal bands in order to keep their chops up. And anyway, I gave my card to this band leader, and it started me down on
There you go.
the road of singing again. There's a big band in Thousand Oaks I worked with on the first Monday of the month, the Harry Sylvan Orchestra, with our friend Nancy Osborne, who's been your
yes,
guest.
who has been our guest, right.
I worked with Bonnie Bowden, who's
I
been
love
your
Bonnie.
guest.
Love her.
Bonnie and I work together with a group called the Big Band Alumni every Tuesday morning.
And I've been there, and it is fabulous.
And then
fabulous.
the second Wednesday of the month over in Burbank at a place I work with another big band called Flight 584.
Viva Cantina.
That's the one.
Yeah.
And And all of these, if you go to my website, billajones.com, you'll find a place to sign up for my email newsletter.
Now, also on that,
And
Brian,
that will
you
give
said
you
that,
details,
But no,
also.
but Bill, you have a couple of great CDs out there. One is called Frankly,
Yeah.
which I love, and the other one is Heard That Song
Yeah.
Before. How does one get those phenomenal CDs?
Well, if you come to see me, at one of my shows, I'll be glad to sell them to you in person.
We'll be right back.
At one time or another, every family is faced with mobility issues for a loved one. Call Before You Fall is here for you with all the safety and mobility solutions your family needs. Come see Alex in the Call Before You Fall showroom, or if you can't, they'll come to you in one of their fully stocked service vans. So put your mind at ease today. Call Alex at 1-800-829-1491. Remember, be on the safe side.
I want everyone to see, because some of these videos that we're showing, and they're small, little ones, but people recognize it because they've watched these shows forever and ever. Days of Our Lives. I just want to show them that. So let's go to Days of Our Lives.
Well, we've talked. I've finished the pie. And I still can't make my mind up whether or not to go for this deal you're offering.
You're my first choice.
You said you run a lot of big deals by Vicky. I've seen enough of Chad to see that he's a very bright young man.
You know what? I do too. And I want to be a part of that.
Yes.
You call those other investors and you tell them you've got your guy.
I absolutely will. Thank you.
I've had a long day. Are you ready to go?
Absolutely.
Oh my goodness. Now, what was the character's name?
Brad Bush.
Brad Bush.
Multi-millionaire investor and lover of the symphony and
You had fun doing that.
Oh, I had a lot of fun.
I know. And now, I'm going to ask you, your one-man show is called The Great Gentlemen of Song, and that's with your six-piece group, the A Players.
That's right.
And when did you form that?
Oh, I did that a while back because, as much as I love working with a big band, which,
Right.
it tends to be anywhere from 13 to 17 musicians, it's sometimes unwieldy to try to, fit a big band into smaller venues, and then also people don't have the budget for a big band. And so I thought,
Here comes the A band.
let's come up with
Yeah.
something smaller. And so I worked with my musical director, and we came up with basically a six-piece group. Piano, bass, drums, and then also three horns.
And now I know your audience. I know what you're saying to me. Okay, Pink, we want to see, really, can this man sing out there? Well, let me tell you,
Oh my gosh.
within a few moments, you're going to see Bill A. Jones, just the man, the cabaret singer, who absolutely is off the roof. So we'll be right back.
From infants to seniors, AdvantagePlusCaregivers.com provides quality, compassionate caregivers that you can depend on. And for those departing the hospital, our transitional care service delivers significantly improved patient outcomes. So if you or someone you love is in need of home care, call 1-800-687-8066. AdvantagePlusCaregivers.com. We're all about the care.
We are back with Bill A. Jones. I adore you. So there we go. It's all yours.
Fly me to the moon, let me swing among the stars. Let me see what spring is like on Jupiter and Mars. In other words, hold my hand. In other words, darling, kiss me. Fill my heart with song and let me sing forevermore. You are all I long for, all I worship and adore. In other words, please be true. In other words, I love you. Sidney Newley, who first sang it on the stage in London. But it was taken to new heights by an incredibly talented gentleman named Sammy Davis Jr. What kind of fool am I who never fell in love? It seems like I'm the only one that I have been thinking of. What kind of man is this? An empty shell, a lonely cell in which an empty heart must dwell. What kind of lips are these that lie with every kiss, that whispered empty words of love, that left me alone like this? Why can't I fall in love like any other man? And maybe then I'll know what kind of fool I What kind of clown am I? What do I know of life? Why can't I cast away this mask of clay and live my life? Why can't I fall in love like any other man? And maybe then I'll know what kind of fool I
Oh, yeah, I'm not going to let you go. I'm not going to let you go. One more, please, for our audience. One
right,
more.
let's
Thank
do
you.
it.
Oh, the shark babe has such teeth there, and he shows them pearly white. Just a jackknife, as old Mac Heath did, but he keeps it out of sight. You know when that shark bites with his teeth, babe, scarlet billows, they start to spread. Fancy gloves though, as old Mac Heath did. So there's never a trace of red on a sidewalk Sunday morning, don't you know? Lies a body just oozing life. Could that someone creeping round the corner be someone called Mac the Knife? There's a tugboat down by the river, don't you know, where a cement bag just drooping on down. The cement is just for the weight, dear. Bob will get you a dime. Oh, Mac is back in town. Here by Louis Miller, he disappeared, babe, after drawing out all of his hard-earned cash. And now Mac Heath spins just like a sailor. Could it be our boy's done something rash? Oh, Jenny Diver, Suki Tawdry, Miss Lottie Lanyard, and old Lucy Brown. I say the line forms in the right space. Now that Mackie's back in town, I said, Jenny Diver, ho, ho, Suki Tawdry, look out for Miss Lottie Lanyard and old Lucy Brown. I say the line forms in the right space. Now that he's back in town. Look out, oh, Mackie is back.
God, I tell you, a reviewer once said of Bill A. Jones, he is a singer that you can see and hear anytime, any place, anywhere, and he's so right. Wow, absolutely. You're just absolutely a dream. I thank you so much. God bless you. Audience, remember, just remember, that when we say that there's a life being well lived, there it is, right here with this gentleman, giving everyone that bit of joy that we all need in our lives. Bill A. Jones, thank you from the bottom of my heart for not only being a great singer, a great actor, but a good friend. Thank you so much. We will see you next time. God bless everyone. Wow.
I'm gonna live till I die. I'm gonna laugh instead of cry. I'm gonna take the town and turn it upside down. I'm gonna live until I die. They're gonna say, what a guy. I'm gonna play for the sky. Ain't gonna miss a thing. I'm gonna have my fling. I'm gonna live until I die. The blues.